right. Well, anyway, as I was saying, we got the freaking stimmy checks coming, and everyone's happy about them. You guys got them both. You both got stimmies. I didn't get stimmies. I'm pretty impressed by this stimmy plan. I mean, Dela, you were saying that we should be like really happy about it because like it's so hard to get. But this was like, when would you ever believe that we'd get a $2 trillion essentially, relief bill? It's pretty nuts.
It's absolutely nuts, but it's something that Biden promised, and he did it. So I think there's one part which we'll talk about, I guess, on the minimum wage part, but that wasn't.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
I mean,
he didn't get it.
I mean, I think his thought process was like, look, if I don't do this, if I include this minimum wage stuff, like I just think it might be too unpopular and it'd take forever to get through. And so I think it's fair to wait on the minimum wage. Even though people, like, I think we need to get the messaging right on minimum wage. It's not like you're automatically increasing at 15. People just don't understand it's a gradual increase over 4 or 5 years. So that, I think, just takes some time. But I'm glad they did it. It took them forever.
Yeah, I'm actually not that surprised. I have a bigger question for you. All right, there's a bunch of things in here, right? There's the child tax credit. There's unemployment benefits. There's obviously just you getting a straight up stimmy check that I still don't get. There's some infrastructure projects that are a little bit longer term that they put in there too. I guess my question is, this is a pretty popular bill, right? This is a pretty popular bill amongst the American people, supposedly. But yet you didn't get one fucking Republican on both in the House and the Senate. My question to you is this: why not just call it the Democratic relief bill, Democrats relief bill, or something like Joe Biden and the Democrats relief bill? Why are you calling it the American Rescue thing? Because I feel like you're losing the main part that not one fucking Republican voted for it. So just call it Democrat stimmy checks, Democrat relief bill, Democrat like unemployment insurance. Like, why are they not labeling this in the same way that Donald Trump signed his fucking name to all those stupid fucking checks? Why not label it Democrat? And I would say, actually, you have a better reasoning of doing that because not one Republican actually passed this bill. So you literally just have a Democratic passed bill, and all of your benefits that you're getting to the people who are actually getting it as the lower income of the entire threshold of America. It's really those people getting it. It's not even a rich people bill. It's just regular people are getting it. But I feel like now they're going on this messaging tour and they're going to do all this bullshit. But why not make it simpler? Why not just put it in the name? And why not have a letter to everybody in the country saying Democrats like gave you this money, and because people are so bipartisan. People are so partisan, like to the point where they don't know anything going on ever. They just know, like right now, Dela, if you were to take a vote in Texas, just Republican, Democrat, and they just like voted Ted Cruz was the Republican, let's say, and maybe people are upset about Cancun, but not really. Let's just say you put Beto O'Rourke on the other side, right? People are just going to vote Ted Cruz in Texas for the most part. And right. So they don't care about the fact that Ted Cruz took a mini vacation during your entire energy emergency, right? They don't care that Ted Cruz is a piece of shit that didn't vote for any of this stuff that they're all going to get money for. They don't care that Ted Cruz is just a lying moron who's a fool, right? They're literally just voting Republican because. And I feel like as much as Democrats love to give things to everybody because they actually care about the general public and the working people don't care about Democrats back. So the real thing, and I think you mentioned it earlier, is like, I understand they're going to go on the campaign tour across the fucking country to tout all the benefits of the relief plan, but there's a bunch of people that you're still not going to get to. There's a group of Americans that are never going to listen to Joe Biden. They still think Donald Trump's the president. And the only way that they're going to see any correlation between the relief plan and them and Democrats is if you literally tie it onto the check and write a letter saying, from Democrats to you, like, thanks. Like I don't understand. You have money. People like money. People understand money. That's why Donald Trump wanted to get those $2,000 fucking dollars out right before the Georgia runoff election, right? And he blames McConnell for being a little bitch and giving him, oh, I only won 600. He blames that when the Democrats were going to give 2,000. He blames that on the loss. Whether that's true or not, I mean, there's a million reasons why they lost. Maybe because people didn't want Donald Trump anymore, and they opened up voting to a majority of the population there. But regardless, though, it's this idea of Democrats not realizing that, like, they have no way of reaching a lot of Americans, and money is the best way to do it because people like money.
Yeah,
You're giving them money,
Dan,
and
Dan,
Donald Trump signed his name to these fucking checks. Why is it not called?
We get it.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, here's what I'll say, and then James, you can jump in on this too. I think that look, I understand the want to take credit. All right. I mean, you have, for example, Obamacare was actually a pejorative, right? It was not something that Democrats came up with. That was something the Republicans called it as a pejorative to Obama, and then now it's obviously been called Obamacare for the last 11 years. So, I think that like let the Republicans stew on this, right? I mean, you let them be afraid. I think people understand where the money came from. People know where their bread was buttered before, and so I don't think there's need to. Do
you think that? You think people know where their bread was buttered? How many people think that it's still a Trump check coming their way?
There's no one who's dumb enough to believe this is a Trump check. No one.
James, anybody in Montana think this is a Trump check, a runoff from the Trump?
But I wouldn't imagine that there's got to be people.
No, I don't think anyone's dumb enough to believe it's a Trump check. I think the thing, though, that people will never say Joe Biden's a legitimate president, different story. But I do think that, like, Joe Biden going on this tour, and I read a good article about this. The Democrats have learned their lesson from the recovery bill of 2009, right, where they pretty much fixed the economy on $900 billion. So I think this is a lot easier for the Democrats to push. Thank God the vaccines are spreading around. People are getting their vaccines. So there's a lot of good news. And I think this is their way of saying, look, we're giving you all this good news. Your city is going to get fixed with the infrastructure as a down payment. I think this messaging tour is the way to do it. You don't need to name this the Democratic handout bill of 2021. That's not going to help anyone. No.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to help somebody. I want a little piece of paper that tells me it curated for my state, right? I want a little piece of paper curated for my state that says, you, Johnny John of Texas, is getting these 4 things, like for you and the other people that you know that are, if you're unemployed, you get this. If you're just a regular resident making under this, you get this. And even if you're just a regular resident and you make over this, you get this. And those are your buckets. Hey, I'm getting all this. Look, I know it. I got a letter that says what I'm getting. It's like winning the fucking jackpot, right? Like, you got a letter saying all the things you're going to get. Wouldn't you be happy as fuck?
You get a letter that says who voted against it. Like, hey, this is your local guy that voted against you getting money.
Yeah, you see that.
That's good
now
too.
You see, Dan, legally they can't do that, but you know what's really good is that's exactly what these PACs are doing right now. So they are going. You will see this, especially towards the end of this year. You will absolutely see that exact blitz. I mean, right now it doesn't make a difference, right? Because like no one's caring about primaries for 2022. But I am telling you, you will see
a blitz. You don't like my list of papers going out?
No, we don't need more papers. People aren't reading. People all want money and move on.
People are not reading. People aren't going. People need to know. Okay. I would say that then fine. No more mail. No more papers. Whatever. Why don't you just do? Even though I think it's a good idea, you should throw it in with every local newspaper. Is have like the list of, hey, your state gets a curated list of things. I think it's a good idea. I feel like we're not reaching a lot of these people that are already lost. They're voting Republican. They don't even know that Ted Cruz didn't vote for it. They don't know what's in the bill. They're like, oh, I got a stimulus check. They don't go, thank God that we had that runoff election and that John Ossoff was elected over Purdue that gave us the vote so that we could get it through budget reconciliation. Who the fuck knows that? Nobody cares or knows that that's the thing, but that's the only reason why they're getting a stimmy check.
Yeah, but they don't know. They don't need to know all those details.
Why don't we take all the credit? Do you know how hard it was to get the majority there? We had a runoff election in Georgia where we had to take both seats. That's what it came down to. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we did that, and yet, oh well, let's not take all the credit for this bill because we'll go on this little speaking tour and Joe Biden will go to Pennsylvania and blabber to some Yahoo in a plant somewhere. Enough already. Everything should be branded. It should be the Joe Biden savior plan because people only know Joe Biden and they know Donald Trump. They don't even know their fucking senators. James is dead. Anyway, people vote down ballot, Dela. True or false?
People, that is true.
If you're going to vote down ballot, then the rest doesn't matter. It should be called the Joe Biden saved us plan.
I think if the economy rebounds as what people
going to
predict it will. We'll find out. If it's not lethargic, like people did the same thing. Remember why Obama and them lost in 2010. People said the same thing about the recovery in 2010. It never happened until 2011. So I think if hopefully
Dela, don't we learn something from Trump though? You do it. You say you take victory, and if it doesn't turn out, you deny it and blame it on Trump. I mean,
absolutely.
Take credit? I mean, likelihood is that it's going to turn around. If it doesn't, okay, it was Trump. He fucked it up too bad. Hey, look at this thing that he did. He fucked it all up. He gave all the money that you were supposed to get. He gave it to like friends and like fucking graft, whatever the fuck he did. He's a nightmare. He's a psychopath that blew all your money. I mean, why not take the most? Why not call the Joe Biden saved us plan? Why are they not called Joe Biden checks? Because people are voting down ballot the Joe Biden checks, the Joe Biden unemployment, the Joe Biden. What are we doing? Joe Biden everything.
I mean, you're. Yeah, I mean, look, I get your point. I am just telling you that, like, it's a lot. Yes, you can call it the Joe Biden checks, whatever, but I'm pretty sure from here on forth, you're going to hear from his mouth, just like Trump used to say the same repetitive shit all the time. You're going to hear the same thing from him about how I save the economy, and that's exactly what he should be doing. I saved the economy. I made things better. I made your life better. Like, all of those things will come. I don't
you think people just go
some TV ads for Joe.
Don't you think people will say it was Donald Trump though that saved the economy, and Joe Biden is just getting the benefits of Trump doing it himself?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I really don't.
An entire media branch that's going to be dedicated to that narrative.
I mean, of course.
So, I mean, how can you cut through it with a speaking tour and a couple of $1,400 stimmy chicks that don't even know where they're coming from?
You cut through it by talking in terms of people. This is why remember we talked about this back in November. This is why Republicans are good at what they do. They talk in very simple terms. So here's what you talk about if you're Joe Biden. You talk about stock market going up, even though it has nothing to do with the economy. Well, I mean, whatever. The establishment, the news, whoever's doing it, just put out the messaging. Like stock market going up, jobs.
I know,
unemployment going down, jobs going up. The
basic stuff. Basic idiotic shit that has nothing to do.
Your guns are still here.
Interest rates, like, maybe deficit is fine.
It's fine. Exactly. As dumb as possible. Remember, we always said this. As dumb as possible.
I get it, but that message is still going to go through the filter of like the right-wing media. And that's why I'm saying that your best chance to cut through is when they're getting a check in the mail and it comes with a certificate that says, my Joe Biden check is here. I feel like you have such.
Remember, Trump gave us. How much did Trump give us? What?
No,
1,800,
12.
right?
Wasn't it 12? And then 6.
I thought we got 6. Yeah. All right, so we got 1,800. Remember, he still lost by how many million votes?
Well,
right? This dude gave us more money than Biden did. Bro, I'm just saying. Just because he gave me money doesn't mean anything.
They gave us.
I'm just saying. Trump gave me $1,800.
You have it the wrong way, Dela. You have it the wrong way. You have it the way thinking that people are starting with giving, like, people trust people that know are in the know. We know that Joe Biden's doing a good job, that he cares about us and is doing things that we wanted him to do because he cares. We're already going with the assumption. But there's a bunch of people that say no matter what, because they're getting a filter of nonsense, that Joe Biden, nothing he does is ever good. It's all lies, and he's not even the president. So they're all lies.
They did the same shit for Obama.
So now, but we're in the other boat. You're not going to get influenced by Donald Trump giving you a check with his name on it, right? But the regular plebes that you're dumbing shit down for definitely go, oh, my Trump check. They call it a Trump check. It has his name on it. But the people that you're affecting have a chance of getting affected only through this one means. it's like you have such limited options to get through to these people because they're voting down ballot. They don't know anything except for what Fox is telling them. So you have the one chance on a check to put the Joe Biden check, call it the Joe Biden plan. It's your only chance. Tell me another chance. You think Joe Biden's tour is going to get two?
You know what? You know what's gonna work?
Oh, let's hear it. This is going to be exciting.
What do you call it? No. Whenever you forgive student loans, that is going to change things. Because I think I know. But look, if you want something that'll have the impact of everyone will understand it better, forgive 10K, right? I mean, and they said they're working on that. Schumer said by the end of the year,
they're going to get 10K because they already put in the thing to do it. You can tax write-off
to make it tax free.
Tax free.
Right. So you're noticing that, all right? So that is something that's different from Trump. I know, but I'm telling you, it doesn't have. You're thinking in terms of like we're gonna lose tomorrow if we don't do this. We're gonna lose it. Yes, we are. But you know what? Look, it's more. But you have to think about it.
I accept that. Like it's a matter of that.
No, because it's a long game, right? It's a long game, and we can transition this into the filibuster conversation. I know this matters to you,
but the only thing I want to talk about.
Game you have to play here. I know, but it's the long game you got to play, and Biden and them are playing the long game. And I told you that's what he's going to do. He's not going to do everything to where to stuff it in January 2021 when an election is almost 2 years away. So do it piece by piece. Let people don't do what Obama did, where he did two things and then like pretty much got stuck by McConnell.
No, they're going to do it differently. I have expectations. I'm okay with waiting.
I hope so.
I'm just saying that I'm okay with waiting in terms of if the wait time is minimal and the things you're getting done are big.
Right.
I'm okay. You can't wait a year. You can wait like a month or two to tout the American Relief Bill before you get HR 1 done. I'm okay with that. But I'm saying what's more important is that when you get the victory, it's not. Most things are still not going to have a chance to get to the people that voted for Trump or the people that are stuck in the Fox News bubble. Most things don't.
I think if you get the vaccine, look, get the vaccine, which even the right-wing people are getting vaccines. Get the vaccine.
But that's still Trump. That's still Trump.
Yeah, I know Trump. I get it, but Trump had nothing to do with the rollout of the actual vaccine. So you know what? I think that's something
such a complicated concept.
I know. It's complicated for people.
So you're telling me Trump gave us the vaccine, but Joe Biden was in charge of the rollout vaccine. Oh, explain that to the dummy.
I mean. You're correct. That's very hard to. It's hard to. I agree. That's a hard thing to.
Okay, give us the easiest message. Give me the basic one. What's the best one to get through the Fox News?
Here's a basic. And Biden did an excellent job in that speech. Remember, he said July 4th. I'm going to give you.
That was good. July 4th. I like that. That was a good date. I like July 4th. America, freedom. You're understanding this, right? They're taking that away from MAGA. Then they also said by May 1st, everybody can go get a vaccine. Good. That's easy to understand. All right. By March 14th, we'll have passed this recovery bill, so that way your things don't expire. Understood? Done. Right. Then the next thing and the most important thing is that they said we are going to figure out immigration. We're going to figure out voting rights, and we're going to also figure out Dr. Seuss. Right.
Those are
be figured out.
Dr. Seuss is what Fox News tells you to figure out, right? So like, and I mean, you can't really play up racial inequality because white people on the right hate that. So that's where they are going with their messaging, and I approve of it. I like what they're doing, but you don't. I get where you're coming from, Dan, but I promise you do not need to call this a Joe Biden.
Oh my God, you
don't need to because it's too early. It's too early.
The Joe Biden checks. I'm telling you, okay, I'm just saying you only have a few ways to actually immigration. The things you're talking about are the most like the only people paying attention to the stuff that actually care about it, that won't get it manipulated, is me and you. We're the only people that are going to care about immigration on the southern border, and if they open another facility, and if they're holding 1,000 kids in there, and nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. Ted Cruz is down there going, "Oh look, Joe Biden's ruining the border," and all of them are crossing over. Like, what are we saying? There's only one way that people can attribute at the opposition in current partisanship that we exist in America is we're so polarized. It's only one way that you can get through to people, and that's Money. That's money.
Money and anger.
Yeah, money and anger. Joe Biden's not going the anger route. We're already done with that. That was Donald Trump's thing. So let's go the money route.
Right.
Money. I'm getting $1,400 right now. I think the right wing media is probably going to tell me, they put a bunch of shit in there that doesn't matter. So now I'm thinking about the COVID relief plan, and I'm getting brainwashed into thinking that there's a bunch of Democrat wish list stuff in there, and I almost forget I'm getting a fucking $1,400 check, and if I'm unemployed, I'm getting money, and if I have a child, I get $300 a month. Like, I don't think of any of that because I'm getting brainwashed with Dr. Seuss and fucking and Mr. Potato Head and fucking wish infrastructure in some fucking state that's not mine, and I don't care about, and some fucking trains that need to get fixed. I don't care because that's all I know. If you ask me what the COVID relief bill is, and I was on Fox, COVID relief bill had something to do with Dr. Seuss getting canceled. It had something with Potato Head losing his gender, and it had something to do with infrastructure wish list from Dems. That's my COVID relief bill. You know how I can counter that? Hey, I just got my Joe Biden check in the fucking mail. It says, check from Joe Biden. Here's to you, proud American. Thank you for sticking it out during the pandemic and really trying your best to get by. Joe Biden will remember you. Vote Joe. Not vote Joe, but you can definitely call it the Joe Biden checks. Naming it Joe Biden checks are great. I just think you have no way of reaching these people. They're a lost cause. Stop being honest. I know that I always hear on these stupid podcasts and political talk, all they talk about is, you could just get in front of them and have a conversation. They'll totally change their mind.
No, of course not. No, of course not. That's not going to change their mind. I mean, these people don't care about what you have to say, but they do. But like I said, they do understand simple terms, and I do think when they're understanding more
through to them,
their own
simple terms.
And I think, like I said, I think it will, and I think over time, I'd say this. There are people like Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, like Kevin, whatever his name is, McCarthy, MTG, all these people who are like morons. But what thing is, they're like all the stuff that's benefiting their own constituents, they didn't vote for. And that, again, is going to be hammered home starting in December-ish time. You will see ads left and right, because right now it does not matter. You will see ads left and right going towards those people, giving them the understanding, because, again, you can call it the Joe Biden check, but it will be lost in translation once people are back at the club in July. No one cares what it was called.
No, that's the only thing they'll remember.
I'm saying like people will forget that we even got money. People forgot how much money we got last year, right? I remember because I loved every minute. And remember the student loan interest, right? Trump paused that, and he got no credit for that, right? I didn't vote for him because he gave me 0% interest. I'm not ever voting for that clown. So you have to understand, like, these people, like to your point, they understand money and they understand fear and anger. So I think there's a way to work on this tour. I think he's doing a good job he's not going to mostly blue states. He's going to mostly red areas and tell them, hey, go get vaccinated. Look what I'm doing for your specific city. Right. And I think just give it time. I understand your impatience
bubble, man. Things go through. I feel like we always underestimate how much is getting through to anyone.
I think once Dominion wins this lawsuit against Fox and they turn their name,
that'd be wild. I mean,
they turn it to Dominion News.
Those Dominion voting machines, they fucking did us good, Dela. They got us fucking victories.
That's right.
Remember when that was a fucking fake thing? Also, on this year anniversary, before we get into the filibuster, because you got to roll out at 7 on the spot. I was thinking back to last year, and I was like, the things that we were talking about were like, hey, this is worse than the flu, and hey, we should wear a mask. And people, no, we shouldn't wear a mask. We don't want to wear a mask. Oh no, it's not even worse than the flu. What are the rates of the flu? What is the rate of this? How is that?
People die. More people die in car crashes.
Why don't we do anything? And I was thinking, I'm like, oh my god, like whether I mean, you'll never be able to numerically like calculate how many people like unnecessarily lost their lives to COVID because of like clownery by Donald Trump and the insanity. But I just like think about the arguments we were having when we like think about the argument of should we wear a mask, or is a mask make you a loser and look like a weak nerd? Or and is it really that bad, or is it a Democratic hoax meant to scare everyone to ruin Trump's economy? This is the argument we were having during the pandemic when it was just plowing through the country and plowing through New York City and just killing everyone. We were discussing whether masks make you look stupid or not, and Trump wouldn't wear one because he doesn't want to look stupid. And I mean, I'm just thinking like, forget everything else and forget all the other problems and insanity that he did, but like just the fact that people voted for him again, and they're like, you fucking asshole. Like he could care less about anything. I just like, how many people did you have to die because you were just being a fucking moron?
It's unbelievable how much blood he has on his hands, and I think the entire GOP does too. And you notice none of them even mention how many people have died.
No, they'll never say that number.
Mention that ever. They don't care. They never care. They don't care. And I think that, and it's funny, like to your point, 10 million more people voted for for Trump. Not even 10, it's actually probably 12 million more voted for Trump than did in 2016. So it just. I mean, I don't know how to explain
I feel like it is Democratic messaging is not going dumb enough, simple enough, and reaching these people wherever they are in the most simple, like basic way humanly possible. What I would have done is just said like, find a fucking made up stat from some fucking thing that has projections of deaths if we had it under another country, and said that would have been Joe Biden. He would have done it this way. And deaths as a percentage of the population in our country. And it's like, and just put a big number, put it on a bar graph, and say Donald Trump deaths killed, Joe Biden projected death rate, and it's a little bar and a giant bar, and that's it. It would have been like, oh, did you see the bar charts? That's all. One has a big bar. I know that's how many people Donald Trump killed by not doing anything. This is how many projected Joe Biden would have saved doing this way. It's like, oh, I see. All the middle people could have been saved, killed. Like moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents, like killed because Donald Trump. And it's like, it's not true. Like, if he had done something, he probably could have saved a bunch of lives. They had a bunch of projections I saw that were like 90% of could have been saved if we had started doing some kind of social distancing and mask wearing and stuff earlier. But Donald Trump said it was all bullshit and you shouldn't pay any attention to it. I'm like, these people, the messaging is so fucking dumb because they don't project people to be dumb enough. They don't say people are dumb enough. And it's not even dumb, it's brainwashed. So they don't realize how entrenched and brainwashed during the whole American the rescue plan, the whole bill, the relief bill, they were focusing on fucking Dr. Seuss. So these people don't know what's going on. If I talk to a Republican, they'd be like, that was listening to the Fox News bubble. They'd be like, well, you care about the Joe Biden relief bill, but what about Dr. Seuss? Are you going to get rid of all the books? And what about the potato head? You're going to get rid of him? And I'm like, so this is like, so when you say they're stupid, if somebody comes up to me and goes, Dr. Seuss is really important right now, we got to save the 6 books that have racist shit in them, and we got to get them out to the public now before they cancel them, would you be like, you're stupid? No, you'd be like, oh, you're clearly being brainwashed. This doesn't matter at all right now, or ever probably, because who the fuck cares what Dr. Seuss publisher wants to get rid of his fucking books? I don't give a fuck. That doesn't matter to anyone. Stop pretending it does. And this is a major news story on Fox to be covered day, night, cancel culture, Dr. Seuss, shut the fuck up, shut up. Nobody gives a fuck about Dr. Seuss. Nobody. You're making up a complete fucking nonsense story to distract us from fucking helping and getting out of the fucking pandemic.
No, you're right. I mean, I think that's what they do. But again, I think whenever they when they lose this lawsuit to Dominion, things will change. I mean, the one thing that Tucker Carlson's protected because he won a Supreme Court case on that because Fox argued that he's not news, so therefore he's satirical.
Another thing,
he's the only one.
We have a disclaimer on the screen that comes up that says, just so you know, this is not considered, like that should be a thing that Democrats fight for.
Well, that's why they didn't sue him, right? I don't know if you noticed that he was not sued
specifically. I didn't see that.
Oh, the other one, yeah. There's a reason why. It was because since he won that Supreme Court case that said that, hey, I'm not news, I'm just here to make shit up. Legally, he is allowed to have a satirical news. It's just similar to John Oliver, right? So because he's not a journalist legally, he's held at a different standard. So there are certain things that people like Tucker Carlson can say all the time because they're not technically news programs. They just happen to be on news channels.
Can we get a disclaimer?
Which, to your point, is a huge problem. They're never going to put a disclaimer. That requires a legal.
Let's do it.
So I don't know if they're ever going to do that. I mean, I would love to do that.
Disclaimer, just so you know, this is not, while this is on a news channel, this is not considered news. And this is all opinion, and you should not take any stake in anything being said. And it'd be like, hey, another disclaimer. And if they ever say that they're news or present something as news, like a real news fact-based thing, which they have to say, you have to disclaim, just so you know, the disclaimer pops up every news-based, any fact that they say. Just so you know, this is all opinion by Tucker Carlson. None of this is considered factual news. Because then it's like you're on a news network, you're saying some things that are actually happening, you're saying other things that are just made-up nonsense. What is the news? It's true, and it's like it's not really fair to just say, well, we're not gonna like it's all fake. It's fake when it's convenient. It's real when it's not. It's like, well, I'm telling you the truth. These are the facts, and you're like, but I thought the whole point of you not being able to get sued was because you say stupid shit, and nobody knows if it's true or not. Oh, man, it's not true. Yeah, but it's fake. I'm lying to you.
You're getting into. Yeah, but you're getting into the intellectualism. Remember, this is the thing that you don't like.
I'm not explaining this to people. I'm saying put a big my answer to that is put a big disclaimer that says this is not news. That's not an intellectual
too many
answer.
Words, bro. Too many words.
News.
Too many words.
Disclaimer, warning, not news, not news. It goes on for 10 minutes of the program throughout. Not news, warning, not news. I don't think it needs to be like, well, if you think about it, some is news, some is not news, and we should discuss this openly on the program. I'm literally saying warning, flashing. Just so you know, this is not considered news. No news here. Only opinion nonsense. I'm making it all up. Fact, fake news, not news, not news. I don't care what the warning says. It could be as explicit. You have all those warnings on where that come up before that say, like, if you are not over 18, like, you should not be watching this. How about one that says, like, just so you know, and then be funny? Eventually, they'll either have to become news or get made fun of by everyone. Hey, like, don't listen to them. Right. They're not even news. Did you see the disclaimer that comes up saying they're not news? How could you listen to them? Yeah. They're not even news.
I mean, it's and I was saying, like, this is what the finance shows have to say, right? Because finance shows say that anything that we say is not a suggestion for you to actually buy these equities, right? Like Jim Cramer show has that after every single segment. So you're absolutely correct. I think if they lose this Dominion lawsuit, that's exactly what's going to happen. I really do think.
It's ridiculous. So. Like it's madness, and it would be very funny because if you're listening to a CNN anchor and they go like, "Hey, just so everyone knows, we are news." And they are not, as proven by the fact that a big disclaimer comes up. And every day I would just be like, just so you know, everybody go to Fox, look at the disclaimer and see how it says it's not news. Do not watch them. That is not news. And if they say, no, you're fake news, then like, you actually have a disclaimer come up that says you're not news. I mean, that's pretty, yes, it's not dumbed down enough for the general public, but you can get there from that. You'd be like, hey, if you ever see a warning means not news. Warning means not news. And eventually I think it will sink in if you say it every program. You start up by being like, CNN, a real no warning news network. We do not have to put up a warning because we are real news. If you see a news network that does put up a warning, please be advised that it is completely fake and made up. And then you'd be like, oh, that Fox has that warning. That's so weird. Like, why would they have that? That is kind of strange. Like, it's not news. And like, oh, it's the liberal. It's like, okay, yeah. So the liberal thing is saying that you're not news. That seems they'll believe it. There's a whole section of the population that already switched to OAN because they couldn't handle Fox News telling the truth so much. Fox. They're just being so honest, and they're all defending Dems. And so they get cut, and we got to go crazy. We got to go to Rumble. That's where I get my news from, Rumble. That's where Donald Trump Jr. exclusively posts stupid crap.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, so look, Manchin came over. They got him over the finish line for the rescue plan, right? So now we just got to get him over I heard him, giving little stupid statements. I mean, he's a fucking jerk off, number one, because I know it's like, oh, we're partisan, blah, 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 West Virginia, stupid bullshit. But like in reality, like, okay, you want to play this little piece, this little part where you're like Mr. Partisan and like the Republicans say like, oh, Joe Manchin, he's like a good guy on our side too. It's like, you want to play the little part and then pass the things that we asked the Democrats to pass? Sure. Fine, make us all play this stupid game, and you can look like you're the partisan guy in our party of liberal progressive extremists. I don't give a flying fuck what you do. And cinema makes me fucking sick with a little, and everyone's like, oh, it doesn't matter that she gave a thumbs down, but she gave a thumbs down like a stupid idea, dummies. Like, and I'm just looking at her like, losers, like, no 15 minimum dollar wage, idiot. Like, you're just joking. Like, it's a fucking joke. Like, the $15 minimum wage has no significance to you, that you don't care about at all. It's like, not happening. Like, what are you, a clown? Like, this is people's lives. Like, people are living below the poverty line, and we don't offer a minimum wage. Not from me, cinema. I was like, you fucking, what are you, like, you look like a fucking asshole. Like, well, I'm just doing it my own way. You know, I don't believe in doing it conventionally. And I was like, but you're doing it not as conventional or unconventional. You're being like an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I would tell you this, like she and Manchin have, like, we talked about this whenever the 50 thing, the Democrats got 50 senators, that those two would be the most powerful ones, right? Those two, and then Bernie Sanders to a lesser extent. So I think that, like, I mean, this is one of the biggest things. Joe Manchin needs to figure this out. I mean, he's 72 years old, I believe.
Until 2024.
And he's in a red state. So he needs to understand that if he dies, it's over, right? Like, they're going to elect a Republican.
So move on.
That's why it's like, to move on, like, well, I mean, I don't know what to do, because he understands that, I hope so, that, like, if he's blocking any progress by Democrats, it'll never get passed. The Republicans will get the 50 majority if he ever dies tomorrow. So, and so, like, I don't understand their reasoning and the rationale for doing that.
Have you asked them? Look at the things. I mean, not you personally, but even if you look at their stupid, like, questions to the rescue plan, like, I think it should be 400, or I think it should be 300 for unemployment. That's okay with me. And like, $15 is too much, even though it gets to 15 over 5 years, right? Like, or but in my state it's too much. So, like, I'm just gonna nix the whole thing, scratch. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, and other things. Look at this other crap that he's pushing. It's like, I have problems with this, but not this. Or it's too many people. We're getting paid the stimmy checks. There's a dog outside barking. You hear this? Oh, okay. Only I hear it. I don't care. I was saying these stimmy checks that went to a bunch of people under President Trump, and you all voted for it. But now that it's under Joe Biden, I want it to be segregated to a lesser group of people. Like, that's okay. I don't want everyone to get it. I only want some people to get it. But under Trump, I do get it. And like, but where are you coming from in these logical twists? Because if you're just trying to be just a generic Democrat, right, and just vote along party lines, your problems with these things don't even make any sense. They're like not consistent. Yeah. So we don't know if you're really truly being partisan or if you're just being an asshole, right? Which one is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they don't. Politicians never really care what people think of their personalities, but I think that, like, they just want to vote like how they feel, like because they know they have the power, right? And I think you see this whenever you have. I mean, you saw this with the Republican Party. When John Boehner and Paul Ryan had power, I mean, you saw that a select few of these Republicans would hold up shit. Like, it's the same thing that's happening on the Democratic side, and it sucks, but it's just
I'm okay
the way
with it. As long as they keep pushing shit through and getting stuff done.
Yeah, but well, that's not going through without some sort of elimination.
Exactly, but Joe Manchin is going to be open to reforming the filibuster, which is not eliminating the filibuster, but I think they see clearly that I think he wants some different reforms so that essentially, like, right now you just have the silent filibuster. Essentially, you can just, like, one guy sends like a fucking form, some aid, and then it's filibuster because it's all assumed that these things will take place. Well, I say let's not make it assumed. Let's play it out, but play it out to the point where it becomes a point of it can eventually go through with the majority, right? Like, you can have all the debate you want, but maybe it's capped at 30 days and then we vote on it, right? Or whatever it is. I don't know. And make them all sit there, all 40, and make them talk for the entire time until it's done.
Yeah, I was saying, like,
there's some things you can do that make it essentially the same thing as ending it. It's just that we're pretending that ending it is some nuclear bomb to the filibuster. If we think it's the nuclear option to this problem, but essentially you can do it in a different way. You can, if you make these people sit there and talk and everybody stays in the room, I'm sure one of those senators is going, I'm getting the fuck out of here. What are you nuts? I'm not sitting here for this stupid shit. I don't care that much. I want to go home. I want to spend my jets and my money and my fun. I want to go to Cancun. I got kids. I want to go to Cancun. You think I'm going to sit there and do some stupid filibuster for voting rights that make me look like the biggest asshole anyway? Not a chance. So sure, change the rules, but change them in a way where you can still pass the shit if you're doing it. If you really want debate, right? What do you want, Manchin? I know you don't really want or care about any of this shit, but let's pretend you do. Let's pretend you want the minority to have a say in what goes on. You want them to talk. You want them to be heard. But inevitably, they're just going to block whatever you actually want to do because not one voted for the COVID relief bill. Not one person
Bingo. Not one of them.
in the Congress, in the Senate, not one Republican. So don't tell me that suddenly you're going to like let the minority come in, get their debate in, and then like, oh, we'll change their minds. They don't want their minds changed. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
they're never going to do it. So sure, you want to placate and pretend that they're going to do it, give them a little bit of speaking time for Fox News later? Okay, compromise, done. Go ahead, speak for 24, 48 hours each. All 40 of you have to sit there and we'll run it out. But eventually we're voting on it. So that's the end game. As long as we're voting on it in the end, okay, sit there for 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, I would require, if you do a filibuster, you require everyone has to stay in chamber until it's over. I would, and if you do that, well,
the minority has to stay in chamber. The majority is the one that's pushing the thing that we want.
Right.
So
the party in which is filibustering has to sit.
You're the one, and right now it's the opposite, right? It's like the people that are the majority that want the thing to get done. There's like not really much that they have to, they have to do everything. There's nothing they can do. But the filibuster, they don't have to do anything. They just sit there. Okay, send the email. We would do it if you ever question it, but. Okay, well, let's see it. Let's see it play out. All 40 sitting there like morons for days. Oh, I think that more voting would be bad because I don't know where I am right now. I think if the more people vote, the sadder the country will be, and Dr. Seuss will win, and I'm gonna go. And they just drop dead because it's standing there blabbling nonsense for so long. Their brains explode. Sure, let's get all the problems with HR1 out on the table, right? You don't want early voting. Right. You want the long lines for black people. You want less voting opportunities. You want less people registered. You want 30% of Georgia is black. How many of them do you want to vote? I can handle like 10 to 15% anymore, and I just pass. Like I don't need 30. Yeah. So like. We can do that in a variety of ways. We can say that we have to shut down some voting and change some things around. And Sunday, when people are voting on the weekends, that's a lot of the churchgoers go to the polls. I don't want any of that shit either. Let's close down weekend voting. We'll make it one day where everybody has to go to work that same day. And we'll get our classic 40% participation and we'll win. That's what we need for our Republican. So let's just say that. Let's get it out in the open. That's what we want. We're going to position it in different ways in a wish list of Democrats, but that's reality. That's it. All right. Well, we'll continue another time. James is dead to this podcast.
Absolutely.